When I first started working with the Sony Bravia 9, game mode looked like this. Everything was hazy and pale and flat. It didn't have any real kind of contrast. Colors were overly cold and cool, and it really just felt like the TCL, if I'm being honest with you, with the way, especially a lot of the colors were just awkwardly oversaturated, and it just didn't make any sense. Like you look at the Atlas right here. You just lose so much freaking control over things. Now I'll toggle the UI so you can see what I'm doing here. You get an idea at how hazy this is. And again, the contrast was just lacking, right? That's what the experience will be like for pretty much every single person that buys the Bravia 9. Now, I, being a professional calibrator, master TV calibrator, and I add on to that by saying arcane TV calibrator, since most people don't even know how I'm doing this. And honestly, these days, I don't even know how I made this TV go from this, wait for this transformation, it'll blow your mind, to this. What the fuck? It's not even the same TV anymore. Now it keeps up with a quantum dot OLED. Now looking at them side by side, I can say that the Bravia 9 is a damn good experience. No, it is not going to beat what we have on the, Samsung S95D to the left when we talk about small highlights. And when I say small highlights, I'm referring to things like this. The little lights around, little neon lights, the little neon lights themselves, like in the corner here, it's not going to beat the clarity and the sharpness that you have. Again, you can also notice structural differences. So if you look at the wall in the back, it's going to have sharper lines in general of contrast, where the Bravia 9, those are going to be more hazy and not blurry, but less defined. That's really the biggest difference. Aside from that, it is pretty much a match for match in a lot of things. When we talk about those small highlights, if you look down this hallway here, okay? Right down the hallway, you're going to notice you have stronger highlights. The tinier highlights just come off stronger and clearer, and you can see the light source, where on mini LED, it's just not happening. Yes, this is a quantum dot mini LED, and I think Sony did a great job. I think this is the best I've ever seen Sony's mini LED look in terms of picture quality, for sure. We can get to this thing and look at contrast. They do have contrast that's good. I don't want you to hear that, in some examples where there are tiny highlights, that they can't pull off good highlights. Because in this example, this right here is keeping up every bit as good as this for the most part. Again, the OLED to the left being a little bit darker and a little bit sharper. Well, no, it's sharper by a noticeable margin. But that's really it. Now, also, it's important to know that both TVs have been fully calibrated to my calibration standard, okay? It has not been calibrated to make the TV look like a 30-year-old TV. And that's why it looks so vastly different from what you get out of the box, which, again, I will show you where I started from. That ain't great. That ain't great at all. And I would never want to play Borderlands 3 with a TV that looks like that. Look at all the contrast you miss, the depth, the immersion. It just ruins the experience, if I'm being honest with you. And I'll show you in real time, right? I'll just go into the gameplay and just run around and show you what it looks like when you game like this. And you tell me how you'd rather game. Me personally, I would rather game with it looking correct, not incorrect. If we go into photo mode again, okay, looking at the Atlas symbol, you can see a lot of what I'm talking about. Look at the depth and the clarity and the color quality, and look how disgustingly hazy the Sony Bravia 9 is by default. See, people try to say, like, I'm hating on Sony just because I want them to lose. I don't want Sony to lose. I want every brand to win so we get the best brands. Because if there is a monopoly, nobody wins. So I'm not here trying to knock out a competitor. I want Sony to be their best. I truly wish the best for Sony, LG, Samsung, Hisense, and TCL. Because if they are all at their best, we get the best. That makes sense to you? Because, like, if we're expecting the best year after year, but we keep applauding mediocrity out of the box, we're not going to go anywhere. Now, you can go to a different mode if you don't like how flat FPS looks, but Borderlands is an FPS game. So I am, for all intents and purposes, showing this, and I purposely calibrated the standard so that you can see what FPS is. I mean, it couldn't get any more perfect for an example of what they said you're supposed to use this for and how fundamentally disgusting it looks. I mean, just look around our environment here and it becomes clear. And Borderlands 3, you're getting shafted on the Sony. You just are. I mean, it looks so damn bad. And we're running through here and we're going to look and we're going to see. I'll get even closer to the Atlas symbol here, okay? We're going to go back into photo mode and then hide the UI and you'll see, look at all the highlights and stuff off of this ball right here. You can see the contrast, the dimensionality that you're not getting. It looks like a sphere on the Sony and it looks like somebody's making a hazy attempt at a three-dimensional object on the Sony to the right versus the Samsung to the left, where to the left you've got an actual attempt to make something look good. And this is what I mean when I say, like, you know, don't always believe reviewers because they're not calibrating to my standard. Nobody calibrates to my standard. I created it myself to make TVs stop looking 30 years old. So if you like that, make sure you join and grab these settings because I will be posting them for gamers. This is game mode, so rejoice. This is gonna look amazing. As you can clearly see now look at it. You have all the reflections in the world that you could want. That's keeping up beautifully with the best settings I've ever made on the S95D. And just look at it. It's a treat now. It's a three-dimensional object with better color than what Samsung is rendering in this example, at least as far as the sphere goes. And then we look at the Atlas symbol. The Atlas symbol is a little off. You don't have the same level of contrast and clarity, but you know, for an LED and a mini LED, Sony is getting to where I expected the Bravia 9 to go. Now again, that doesn't mean that everything is a slam dunk. There are some problems. And again, it's always going to be in your background usually, or in things that I would call passive details. So a passive detail would be something like the windows back here where you can see the clear contrast that become a little bit more blurry and hazy, more hazy than anything on the Bravia 9 by comparison. A passive detail is something like, you know, the structure here, where again here it's blurry. These are the differences that kind of go missed when people talk about their comparisons between one tech versus the other. And again, I'm showing you this so that you can see it, and I'm also showing you like the gameplay of it so that you can see in real time. If you're playing your game, you might be underwhelmed with certain things. Because me personally, I get underwhelmed with really bad quality very quickly. Well, let's switch to incendiary because these things aren't dying fast enough. Oh, jump away. Nope, didn't jump out of the radius fast enough. Just kill it. And yeah, you know, people don't mention this stuff all the time. But I mean, just looking at it, I mean, again, pause and go to photo mode. For me, a big one is structural detail. The Sony has OLED level structural detail and balanced scenes. So in this example, this is what I would call a balanced scene. There's no more bright than there is dark. It's pretty equal. Well, when that happens, the Sony keeps up perfectly with an OLED. I mean, they are damn identical right now. You really have to sit there and squint to tell a difference. And then only after squinting and looking, which again, if you're moving quickly in game, you're not going to notice the finer details on the Samsung S95D. Again, this isn't to put down the S95D. This is a testament to what Sony is accomplishing and doing right. And again, when you look at, again, every piece of the structure, it has that very three-dimensional draw, pop, shock, and awe, which also then is a testament to the Samsung S95D to my left. Let's be mindful here that for the longest time we've heard that Sony processing is just superior. We hear that a lot, but nobody is actually proving it, right? They're talking about it. They're taking photos of it. I can show you in so many different ways and examples how Sony's processing is not just superior at all. It's kind of on par with what we have from their competitors. Again, if we're looking at what Samsung is doing here, look at the contrast and the clarity and all of this that you get on the Samsung. The Sony doesn't have processing that is equivalent in this example. And it's not just because it's a quantum dot OLED or an OLED in general, because I've seen some really shit OLED experiences. This is stellar though on the Samsung. I mean, it's not the brighter TV, but because of course the quantum dot color, the pixel level illumination is doing some magic. Now, I also want to say this on video for those, I mean, I probably have to mention it later on. The S95D is far sharper than any TV I have ever seen once you do a custom color calibration. When you do that, it will become the sharpest TV you've ever seen. And honestly, if I'm being real with you, I'm not even using it in the sharpest mode, the most three-dimensional mode I know exists. If I do that, it will literally start leaping off of the screen. And again, I toned it down just a little bit to, I mean, if we're being honest, to kind of help Sony out a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the most three-dimensional mode so you can see what it looks like. And just like that, we're back in the more three-dimensional mode. Now, this mode basically is where you start seeing Sony trail behind very, very far, because then you start to see a lot more of the highlights on the floor. Every little highlight comes alive. The clarity is out of this world on the Samsung. And again, you hear a lot about Sony processing. Well, they don't tell you shit like this. I mean, look at the depth coming off of my character on the Samsung. Let's try to frame it in a way where you can see some color, some highlights, and you can see it. Look at the light in the background. I mean, look at the depth differences. It's huge. It's not like a small thing. There are people that would try to pass it off as like, oh, it's whatever excuse that comes out of their mouth after trying to apologize away the fact that the Samsung is just going to be the more three-dimensional image. Now, I bet you never thought you'd see a day where Sony gets beaten out in the 3D department, but it has happened, as you're seeing with the Samsung. I mean, just look at the wall in the background. Again, the things to look out for are your structures, right? Look at the building. The building is nowhere near as detailed and defined as this right here. This has all of the sauce that you would want to see. And I mean all of that sauce. It just looks damn good. You walk down this hallway, and the structure just winds and wraps in such an intricate and realistic way that you really do feel like you are a part of this universe on the Samsung S95D. And I will be very honest with you, it's something that is unique to the S95D, and that no other TV can really replicate it to this effect, because no other TV is as bright, at least as far as like where the highlights need to be placed. And to prove that, we're going to get nice and close. And now look at the brighter TV. It's not able to hang without being hazy. And this is with turning it down. So if you can imagine, turning up the brightness would do it no favors. And again, close to a very small light source, you can see all the beautiful details on the Samsung S95D. Again, Samsung's processing is S rank. They have like amazing processing. And there are those that are trying to downplay the real depth enhancing technology, trying to say that it's a knockoff of the cognitive processor. No, it's better. And you're seeing it here with a tangible example. I'm in Borderlands 3 in photo mode, rocking a custom color calibration that I've created. And I'm sorry to say this, but the Sony has been custom calibrated too. So when you put apples to apples, the Samsung goes further than the Sony. And when it goes further, that makes it the better TV, at least from every measurable metric of being better. And again, this isn't, again, to make Sony look bad or to crap on Sony or make Samsung look like a hero. Again, there's no such thing as a perfect TV. And if you remember, I was giving Sony a little bit of an advantage by staying out of my most three-dimensional mode, which I wanted to do, because at first when you look at it, you're like, wow, that's a nice looking Samsung. Now when you look at it, you're going to be like, holy shit, that Samsung is something else. And I don't think people are really ready to be as honest about this as it needs to be. Sony's processing has been dethroned. For the most part, their processing has. And I don't think a lot of people like that, want to address that, talk about that, whatever, which again, totally their prerogative, totally fine to do. But I have a job of honesty to give you guys, and I will be doing just that. Being completely transparent and showing you, what TVs can and can't do. Now, I won't lie to you, I actually like the Bravia 9. I think the Bravia 9 is a good TV, I do. I think it has room for improvement, obviously. No TV is perfect, but I do like what I'm seeing. Oh, that's our soldier, because I'm just like laying into this guy, poor guy. Good thing there's no friendly fire. But yeah, I mean, like the Bravia 9, like in this example, like the contrast is to die for. Looking at the Bravia 9, there is so much three-dimensionality. Let's go ahead and open up photo mode again, and I'll show you. Just going through the world and just looking. Yes, the contrast pop immediately grabs my eye on the Samsung. Okay, yes. But can we appreciate that the Bravia 9 too is grabbing my eye because it's doing something that the Sony can't do, and it has higher peak brightness. And that higher peak brightness can be seen on certain objects through the environment, and it just looks nice. Now, that is not as sharp as I'd like it to be on a highlight and things like that. I mean, it's not going to be an OLED. And if you're buying it to be an OLED, I think you should just buy an OLED. Don't hear that they have deep blacks. Don't hear that they have amazing contrast, granularity, and it's better than it's ever been, and think, therefore, you can replace an OLED. You cannot. As you were clearly seeing, the pixel level illumination allows for a certain level of contrast and sharpness that just won't be possible on anything else, especially once you're rocking my particular custom color calibration for the Samsung. There are very few people and TVs that would ever come close to beating the S95D now. And that's because I put a lot of work into it. But when I got the S95D, I hated it. I literally wanted to put it in my closet because it was so ugly out of the box. So again, TVs don't come like this, and I didn't just start off this way like, oh, Samsung's amazing. I wasn't happy with what I saw from Samsung. I am now, because now I got it buttoned up, but much in the same way I wasn't happy when I saw the Sony. You guys remember what I said in the beginning. I did not like the picture quality of the Bravia 9, and for good reason. I mean, again, pause, okay, photo mode. And I do this dramatically in real time to show you what's going on and what's up, because I don't think people really realize like how good I am at this. Not to toot my own horn, but the really like big divide. You always wonder like, why is Quantum saying everything opposite of what all the other reviewers are doing? The other reviewers are reviewing a different TV. They're reviewing a Sony that looks like this, okay? I'm not. I'm sitting here day in, day out for endless hours, fatiguing my eyes and my body until I quite literally get sick physically, and literally has to have my wife pick me up and help me get back on my feet because of how hard I'm working to get these TVs like this, which is why I'm so very passionate. I'm literally giving everything I have to make these TVs look their very best. For somebody to come along and say, oh, you're just some quack, you're some crazy guy, you don't know what you're doing, when I'm the best in this entire industry at it. There isn't a soul alive that will know more about how to pull out picture quality like this than me. Hence, I am literally the only one with the Bravia 9 that looks like this. Look at that freaking transformation. I know you saw that on camera. Dude, even with YouTube compression, you can see that going from some flat, ugly garbage on FPS mode, in game mode, to this in game mode, those are two wildly different results. And that's what I do. And so when I'm saying certain things or poking out certain aspects of picture quality, I'm not reviewing it like everybody else. And watch their YouTube footage. It will be overly blue just like this. And, you know, when it's not, they play camera tricks and they go, oh my gosh, the Bravia 9 is so amazing. It's just so perfect out of the box. I didn't even need to calibrate it. It's so great, so accurate, so amazing. I'm like, dude, stop sucking off the Sony because you want clicks, views, and money. And be honest and tell them that this is actually what they're going to get. And show it. This is actually what you're going to get in FPS mode. It's ugly. It's not beautiful. The game mode experience by default is trash. And you are going to have arcane level experience, okay? Literally something nobody understands how to do because you've made it yourself. Some mystical thing that's so mysterious to everybody else, but you understand very well to be able to do this. Right now in the world today, to my knowledge, I'm the only one that knows how to take that garbage picture and make it look like this. Look at your colors pop in a way that just now it looks like an OLED. Now it looks like closer to my Quantum.OLED. But also, when I say I use a TV as a reference monitor, like I was using the S95D, rocking my best calibration as my reference monitor, that's how I'm getting this result that looks so similar to that result, because I'm honing it to look like the TV I want it to look like. Again, that, if you can imagine, takes a lot of work when it's not an OLED. And I saw in my last video, people were saying it's unfair, compare apples to apples. You know, you shouldn't compare the Bravia 9 to an OLED. That's not fair. The hell it isn't, because it's OLED pricing. And the only direct competitor at that price point is going to be an OLED. It's not going to be an LED. LEDs don't typically cost $32.99 plus tax or $3,000. Okay, that's a lot of money for mini LED technology, which isn't some like end all to be all like brand new cutting edge thing that we've never seen before. So for them to be charging brand new cutting edge pricing, that's the problem. And again, I don't think there's a lot of people that'll be honest with you about that. A lot of people, and even more so, will lie about what they see so that they get YouTube status, favor from, you know, brands and stuff like that, to fly them out to press conferences and get invited to events. I feel like, though, honest to God, if your TV is really that good and your brand is that great, you should be able to make a product, bring out any YouTuber that knows what they're talking about, have them honestly review your product, and get the review you earn. You shouldn't have to put other people up to it, hire celebrities to talk about your product, because if your product's genuinely good, you don't have to go through the pageantry, the theatrics of, oh, look at my product, it's so amazing because LeBron James said so. Or, oh, look at my product, it's so great because, you know, Caleb at Digital Trends said this in an article, and then literally take the quote they said trying to influence your buying decision. You would be able to let your fucking TV stand on business and literally get back to basics, get back to being real and honest, and show people a true, honest-to-God experience that can't be replicated anywhere else but your brand. TV manufacturers aren't like that anymore, and so they need all that extra crap. Hence why we are where we are today with the TV market, where, you know, you look at it in a store and you're like, oh my God, it's like so amazing. You get it home and you're like, what the fuck happened? I thought I had a great TV. Because they're so busy using extra tricks through the post-processing process with these demos. You think you have a good TV, but by the time you get it home, you realize you actually don't. Now again, in this example, the Bravia 9 color, by the way, as the sun rises, I'll go to photo mode so it doesn't change anymore. The Bravia 9 color right now surpasses anything the Samsung is doing. Like, I mean, anything the Samsung is doing. And it just looks so damn good. Samsung still has the better highlights, but the Bravia 9 color, yeah, it's hitting that jam right there. Like, I feel that, right? Like, it looks so damn good. And again, I get so happy when I see stuff like this, because I'm looking and I'm like, wow, like, the Bravia 9 really came a very, very long way. And it's hard and it's tricky because, too, the price point, right? Like, it costs OLED pricing, but also when you think about it and you look at it a little bit further, you're like, you know, it is a 65-inch. To buy a 65-inch A95L, you are going to be spending upwards of $3,500 to $4,000 almost. The same holds true when you look at the S95D. You're not at the $4,000 level for the 65-inch Bravia 9. You're paying, you know, on sale $29.99, which it's on sale right now. So that's $3,000, $3,200 after taxes. That's not that bad, I guess, for a 65er, right? That has picture quality that will never burn in, which is a huge benefit if you leave your TV on and fall asleep. And if you do long, crazy long gaming sessions, right? Okay, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And look at the color. It's to die for. Look at how gorgeous the Bravia 9 color is after my calibration. Again, this, yeah, okay, I have to say this because I see this almost every review cycle. Oh, yeah, whatever, Quantum, only you know how to calibrate a TV, and everybody else, they don't know what they're doing. Only you. Oh, by the way, also buy your $5 membership. Please understand, I have it set at $5 so that everybody can afford it. And everybody can have entry into it. And the reason there is even a price barrier to begin with is because I'm not sponsored by the corporations that I review. So I don't get what Caleb or Tech Steve or any of the other guys are getting. I have to make it on my own because there is no money in this. Nobody's going to fund you to break their product down and show people the faults, the flaws, where it can improve. They don't want an actual review. They want influencers to influence you into purchasing, and I'm not an influencer. That's the problem. So that's why there's a $5 charge on my work that I've literally sat here endlessly creating to make it better than it would have ever been out of the box for you. And again, it helps the channel grow. We get more product like this in, like the Bravia 9. This is a $3,000 television. Who the hell has $3,000 knocking around just to drop on a TV after all their bills and life expenses? I have no idea about you, but I most certainly do not have that, right? And that's why I have to do smart things like sell my talent and my skill and my ability to help you get a better picture, because I'm trying to continue to do my thing here. And unfortunately, nobody's going to come to Quantum TV and say, you know what, we like you so much, it's free. So that's the whole idea behind that. I know a lot of you guys do get it, but I do want to address that because it comes up a bit lately. And I'm like, hello, this is why. And again, just showing you, just so you can see in real time as well, when you go back to the FPS game mode, this is what you would have had without my work. This. And this is the Bravia 9 experience that everybody is raving about as being so perfect and so wonderful and so great. This is what your game mode's going to look like. And it's not great, and it's not perfect, and it's not wonderful. And I think being honest with yourself that you deserve better than that bullshit right there is kind of where you come over to Quantum TV and you pay the $5, the $4.99, and you get this. It's an entirely different TV. And that's what I do for everybody. So that being said, I hope this video finds you guys well. And honestly speaking, I think the Bravia 9 is a damn good TV. We have more to cover. I know a lot of people expected me to just jump up and trash this TV, but it's like I tell you guys, I really mean it. I don't care who wins or loses. I have no pony in the race. I don't care. I only care that when I put it through the paces and I test and I analyze, that I see that it is making the changes where it needs to make the changes so that we get the product we deserve in the end, which is a good looking TV. And the Bravia 9 has a lot of latent potential, but it takes one hell of a calibrator to be able to pull that out. And honest to goodness, I haven't seen any YouTuber able to do it. In all of their footage, I see the Bravia 9 falling way far shorter than it should because they don't know how to utilize all the tools at its disposal to get the best possible picture. Now, if you want to see the best possible picture on a Bravia 9, join. I'm telling you right now, you will see the transformation. You saw a little bit of it on camera here, and more of the same will come your way on your end when you can see it with your own eyes in person. That being said, though, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Game mode is an absolute win on the Bravia 9. I really love what I'm seeing here. I think it definitely competes well and holds its own with any OLED. And now keep in mind, this is going up against the best QD OLED line with, again, the S90 series from Samsung. The S90D being the absolute best TV right now to buy from price value ratio, and again holding stronger highlights in some examples. It's just a beautiful TV, rich color. The S95D though is amazing. I might have to do a reshoot of those after these new settings and after the new updates to change some things to see if it's still the same, because I feel like now it's switched. I feel like Samsung, after the update, definitely gave the S95D a little bit extra in the way of what it didn't have before, and I think it pulled ahead of the S90D just a little bit, but we'll see, maybe in a future video. But either way, the Bravia 9, it's doing a damn good job, and I think once you start comparing it, especially if you were to compare the Bravia 9 to something like the LG G4, the LG G4 gets destroyed, so don't even try. If you, especially with my settings, there's no way. There's no way the G4 has anywhere near the color needed to pull off a win against this thing. And again, that's the honest answer. The same thing for the Sony Bravia 8. The Bravia 8 is going to get destroyed by the Bravia 9. It will. Hence why it's higher. WOLED is not going to beat this thing on any level. This thing is really well spec'd, and at least as far as like once you tighten up that shit and make it look better, it does tend to look a lot better, as you clearly see. But that being said though, let me know what you guys thought about this ultra long video explaining the game mode and what you are and are not getting in this manner. And if you like it, we'll do more videos like this. Again, thanks for watching the #1 brand in honesty, and until the next video, I'll see you guys later.